So today's tutorial was supposed to be something a little more spooky, a little more involved. However, it has been a really long week and I am exhausted. So that's going to be the theme of today's video, is how to keep creating when you're exhausted. I think as women, like we put this pressure on ourselves to like always be creative and always be on, and especially like I've got little kids at home. I know a lot of my viewers are empty nesters and don't have like little people that they're taking care of. But I am like in the thick of it, you know, like it's multiple sports every day and outings, and like we're homeschooling. So there's a lot going on. And sometimes at the end of the day, I want to be creative because it feels more virtuous than sitting on the couch scrolling Instagram. And I like to do things with my hands to decompress. However, it takes a lot of energy, like to go into your sewing room, come up with an idea, figure out if you have the skill set for that idea, get your supplies out, like plan the thing, cut the thing, put the thing together. Sometimes you just need a quick win. Like you just need to make something that's mindless, but keeps your hands busy, but doesn't take too much effort, if that makes any sense. And that's fine. Like there are projects that you're like, I really need a challenge. I really like, I'm feeling mentally energized and I have the capacity to put a bunch of effort into learning something new and being challenged. And then there's days when you're like, I couldn't figure out how to operate a doorknob right now. I'm so freaking exhausted. But you still want to create, and you need to have projects for days like that. All creatives need that. All creatives need projects that require us to push ourselves, and we also need projects that require us to just let go and just simply be. And I think before, and I'm not going to be the person that like villainizes social media, like social media is bad, because like before social media was bad, TV was bad. And before TV was bad, books were bad. And before books were bad, who knows, horse-drawn carriages were bad or something. There's always been something that society villainizes, like the newest thing is being like the end of society. So I'm not going to be that person that's like, you're a bad person if you sit and scroll social media, because that's just not true. However, personally, it overwhelms me. It stresses me out a little bit. And I'd rather spend that time like sitting and doing something solitary and quiet that requires my brain and body to be focused on the same thing at the same time. That is the literal definition of mindfulness, is that your brain and your body are focused on the same goal at the same time. And right now, I'm so freaking tired that goal has to be something very easy with a high payout. So it's got to be something where I can put in a little bit of effort and get a lot of reward. And that's why, look, I am wearing little to no makeup, and it's like running. My hair isn't done, you guys. So like I am exhausted, but I still want to make something. And I figured, since this channel is a documentation of me doing, just doing my creative things and bringing you along for the journey, I would rather give you the honest, raw version of what's going on right now, rather than like, oh, I can just put this off until tomorrow when I'm more rested and have time to put, you know, something more fabulous together. Like I want to show you the behind the scenes, because even as like a professional, I use those air quotes liberally, a professional creative, because I'm far from being professional, there are days when I just do not have it in me. And I know a lot of women are like that, and a lot of creatives are like that. So I'm going to do a quick tutorial today, something that has just been hanging out on my desk for a minute. I've got these stacks of 10-inch squares that are left over from other projects, and I'm going to put those to use. So we're going to do something super easy that's going to be minimal effort, high payout. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be super scrappy, and I cannot wait. So we're going to head over to the sewing table, and I am going to show you what we're up to. So real quick before we get started, my kids just brought this box in from the driveway, and it's actually a quilt that I just got back from a magazine, and I'm super, super excited to share. I've done a lot of magazine quilts in the last year, but this was by far one of my favorites, because it is entirely made of Ruby Star Society fabrics, and I have been waiting rather impatiently to get it back. You're gonna absolutely love this, and I am so stoked. Oh, they put a little Rolling River. Oh, they named it Rolling River. I didn't name this. When I told them to name it whatever, I really didn't care. Can you see that? Probably not. So cute. I am so in love. This is one of my favorites that I've ever done, and I'm so excited that it made its way into a magazine. this fabric collection, and I don't normally work in collections because I like to work scrappy, but because this collection is it's a scrappy collection, there's so many different prints in it. I don't think I repeated the same print more than like twice. It is a jelly roll pattern. I'm so in love. It's so cute. So now that I got that box out of the way, I'm going to get back over and start working on my 10-inch squares that I said that we were going to use today. So what I got here is a stack of leftover 10-inch squares, otherwise known as layer cakes, that are left over from work that I did with fabric companies or patterns that I wrote. And I'm madly in love with these. And I'm not really the type of quilter to like use a collection because I like scrappy, but these are just, oh, they're just everything. And then these are all, look how cute. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide these into two stacks, a stack of relatively light and relatively dark. I think I've got 64 squares. So I'm going to separate these out super fast into roughly lights and darks, and then we will start cutting. Okay, so here's my stack of darks, and I do have 32 of these in here. And a lot of these, again, a lot of these are like, I would consider these lights, but the point of this is not to have like perfectly like these are darks and these are lights. It's more or less to have, we're going to create kind of a checkerboard, but it's okay to have some medium prints. Here's my stack of darks and here's my stack of lights, and you can see some of them are truly light and some of them are medium toned. Ooh, I made a mess of these. I just love how these look like vintage sheets. It makes me so happy. Okay, so lights and darks. And then what we're gonna do, and this is gonna be really kind of counterintuitive. I'm gonna set these aside, and then we're gonna take a set of 2 or 3 lights, 2 or 3 darks, and put them together, and then we're just gonna chop a straight line down the middle. And I'm gonna line these up, and it doesn't really matter what order, just line these up where the edges are perfectly square. Oh my goodness, how did these get so far off? Okay, so these are as lined up as they're gonna get. And I am not, I'm not one for freaking out if they're not like perfectly lined up. And you'll see why here in just a second. So I'm just gonna pick a distance from the right. We're gonna say 4 inches for these, and I am going to cut a line. So these are 4 inches, these are 6. And then I'm going to take the top one and I'm going to put it on the bottom, and then I'm going to sew all of these together like so. It would appear that my cats have completely and utterly destroyed the thread in my sewing machine. So for the next pairing, these are both darks, and I don't want both darks together because I want it to make kind of a checkerboard. So I'm just gonna move this one to the side, and then I'll sew together these light and dark pair. And then my next one makes a nice light and dark pair. Now that I'm back at the cutting table, I am just gonna press all of these seams that I just made open. You can press them towards one side or the other, it doesn't matter. Since I'm not really differentiating heavily between light and dark, and I don't want to have to keep up with light and dark seams, I'm just gonna press them all open. No big deal. So now I've got 6 squares that are made of 2 strips. Oh, they're so cute. All right, and we're gonna go back over to the cutting table and we're gonna do it again. Okie dokie. I have all of them sewed together, and they are gorgeous. I'm super excited. This is so scrappy. It is so fun. Thanks. I love putting my scrap quilts together without planning, without putting them on the design wall, and just letting the chips fall where they may, so to speak. So anyway, I'm gonna hop over to the sewing machine and put these together, and I will be back with the finished quilt. Okay. I have not seen the quilt in its entirety yet, so this is like a genuine reaction to me holding it up and seeing it for the first time, like in my screen. So again, I sewed this together without putting it on the design wall, without looking at the layout. Like I didn't do anything to see if it was even going to be cute in the end. So there's a very real chance that I have a bunch of colors all like clustered together and it's going to look crazy. But here we go. Let's see. Oh my gosh, I love it. And yes, I do have giant clumps of white in random places. Oh, that's so cute. So stinking cute. Okay, so here's the thing. For the clumps of white where there's like a ton of white, like all in the same area, and it looks like really like a lot. I do hand quilting with big thread, so it kind of all works itself out. So I'll just go over those parts with like a darker thread so that they're not just like boom in your face white, and it'll be all right. I have to go. I have to go get my kiddos to all the sports, and probably buy a pack of batting for this thing. And I will be back probably on Instagram with the hand quilting process. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this or you were inspired by this, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and I'll be back next week with something new. Bye for now.